We live in a world shaped by silent agreements. Agreements with thought, with emotion, with routine. Most of these agreements are inherited, unquestioned whispers we absorbed from our upbringing, our culture, and our own past experiences. They run beneath the surface like background music we've forgotten how to hear. But once in a while, something disrupts the pattern. A phrase lands, a truth stirs. And suddenly, we remember. We can tune the station. That's what the infallible formula offers. Not a rule book, but a retuning, a way to move from static to signal. It invites us into alignment between what we think, what we feel, what we say, and what we do. This is not about control or pretending to be positive. It's about resonance, integrity, creating an inner climate where life responds not to our willpower, but to our coherence. Imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing deeply that you are not at the mercy of external noise, that your inner state, the quality of your thoughts, the emotion beneath your words, the pulse behind your actions, has the power to reshape your reality, not instantly, but reliably, like water shaping stone. The formula is simple: thought plus feeling plus word plus action. But simplicity is deceptive. These four elements are easy to dismiss, yet profoundly transformational when brought into alignment. You've likely heard fragments of this before. Affirmations here, visualization there, just take action somewhere else. But when they move together, when they form a single frequency, something shifts. Reality begins to echo back with a different tone. In this video, we'll walk through 6 key movements. We'll look at how to uncover and use this formula in real life on a Monday morning, not just on a retreat. We'll explore attention as currency, words as creative direction, feelings as voltage, action as proof. We'll name the obstacles: doubt, delay, resistance. And we'll finish not with a command, but an invitation toward grace and toward relationship with life. Each part of this process is a tool. Think of it as building your inner workshop: a bench for your thoughts, a lamp for your feelings, a lever for your words, and a door for your actions. You don't have to master it all at once. Just begin. Adjust one dial, light one corner, speak one clearer word, take one aligned step, then another. This isn't about chasing perfection, it's about creating resonance, and resonance, once established, does the heavy lifting. You are not here to repeat old scripts. You are here to compose a new frequency, a melody that feels like home. Let's begin. What if your entire life, your relationships, your finances, your health, your purpose, was being composed by 4 instruments playing either in harmony or in chaos? The infallible formula is not a metaphorical idea. It's an actual blueprint, a vibrational alignment between thought, feeling, word, and action. When these 4 align, life begins to synchronize in astonishing ways. You know that moment when something just clicks? You're thinking clearly, you feel energized, you speak with confidence, and your actions follow smoothly. That's alignment. That's the formula in motion. And we've all felt the opposite too, when we think one thing, feel another, say something else entirely, and then act in contradiction. That's internal noise, static, confusion. It's like trying to tune into a radio station but catching only fragments between the fuzz. The formula says, tune your internal station. Find the frequency where your thoughts, emotions, words, and behaviors match. And the universe, or more precisely your reality field, begins to reflect that signal back to you. Here's a simple way to experience it. Choose one area. Say, your finances. Set a quiet, meaningful intention, not just, I want more money, but something like, I welcome peace and flow in my finances. That's the thought. Now breathe into it. Let your body feel what peace and flow would actually feel like. That's the feeling. Next, say it aloud with presence. My finances are aligned with peace and flow. That's the word. And then do one small, honorable action. review a single expense, send one invoice, make one generous gesture. That's the action. It seems small, almost silly. But alignment doesn't require grandeur, it requires coherence. A tuning fork doesn't need to shout. When it's struck correctly, the vibration carries. We've all been there, reading the books, repeating affirmations, taking action, but wondering why things aren't shifting. Often, it's because the four elements are out of sync. You might be thinking wealth, but feeling fear. Saying confidence, but acting with hesitation. The formula is not magic, it's a mirror. It shows you what frequency you're broadcasting. Conny Méndez, a beloved voice in Latin American metaphysics, taught this with simplicity and grace. She brought metaphysical wisdom down from the clouds and into the kitchen, into the Monday morning, into the hands of ordinary people. Her message was clear. You are the architect of your world, but only when your inner instruments play the same song. So begin today. Choose one thought worth thinking. Pair it with a feeling that matches. Wrap words around it that affirm, not contradict. And then move, even if it's just one step. If the dial matters, attention is the hand that turns it. So what are we really tuning to? What you focus on grows. It's not a poetic idea. It's neurology, energy, and perception. Attention is the hand on the dial, and wherever that dial rests, that's the frequency your entire being begins to amplify. In a world flooded with noise, the real power lies in what you choose to notice. Imagine walking through a darkened house with a single torch. Wherever you point the beam, that's what becomes visible. The furniture, the dust, the doorway, it all depends on where the light lands. Now, imagine that your life works the same way. Not because nothing else exists, but because what you consistently illuminate becomes what you live inside. We've all been there, spiraling into worry because we kept revisiting the same scenario, or feeling suddenly inspired because one small positive image shifted our whole mood. That's attention, directing the current. In everyday life, this shows up most clearly in relationships. Take a family evening at home. The day's been long, everyone's tired. It's easy to notice the mess, the complaints, the undone homework. But if you stop and genuinely focus your attention on one caring gesture, like a child's laughter or a shared meal, it shifts everything. The whole room softens. It's not magic, it's choice. William James, the father of modern psychology, once wrote, "My experience is what I agree to attend to." In other words, attention isn't passive. It's the architect of experience. When you realize this, you stop being a victim of circumstance and begin shaping your own narrative. Let me tell you a quick story. A woman, overwhelmed by her work and finances, began a practice. Each morning, before checking her phone, she lit a candle and placed her hand on her heart. For 1 minute, she chose to pay attention to 3 things. One thing she was grateful for, one thing she desired to feel today, and one place in her life that already felt abundant. She did this for 21 days. By the end of the 3rd week, she hadn't won the lottery, but her experience of her reality had changed dramatically. She was less reactive, more responsive. She noticed opportunities she would have missed before. She started calling this her attention altar. It's like when you finally decide to buy a red car, and suddenly red cars are everywhere. They didn't appear out of nowhere. Your attention simply tuned your perception. And what we perceive, we respond to. What we respond to, we energize. What we energize grows. So what if you turned your attention not to the lack, but to the seed? Not to what's missing, but to what's quietly arriving. Not to who failed you, but to who's still showing up. Attention chooses the path, but language lays the paving stones. Words shape worlds. Every sentence you speak plants a seed of clarity or confusion, of faith or fear. And the most powerful words are not those whispered into the universe hoping someone hears. They are the ones you speak to yourself, aloud, with full presence. That's the decree. The decree isn't wishful thinking. It's not chanting, "I'm a millionaire," while your heart clenches with doubt. A true decree is a statement of alignment. It names the reality you are committed to embodying, with words that match your desired frequency, and it sets your inner compass accordingly. Think of it like a sat-nav. You wouldn't just tell your car vaguely, "I want to feel successful." You'd enter a specific address. The decree is that address. When spoken clearly, confidently, and regularly, your inner system begins to route the day toward it. We've all been there, rushing into the day, reacting to emails, caught in cycles of stress. What if, before any of that, you paused for 1 minute and said aloud, "Today, I walk in clarity and calm"? That's a spoken switch. It shifts your energetic baseline. You're no longer waiting for the day to decide your tone. You've chosen it. Let's make this real. A man struggling with low self-worth and career blocks began a new practice. Each morning before his coffee, he would stand in front of a mirror, look into his own eyes and say, "I am a clear channel for inspired work. I am supported, and I contribute with joy." At first, it felt awkward, forced, but after 10 days, something softened. His tone changed. By the 3rd week, he reported feeling a strange momentum, a new client inquiry, a deeper conversation with his partner, an idea he finally acted on. His words had tuned his nervous system to a new rhythm. It's like when you name a fear out loud. It loses some of its power. Words aren't neutral. They direct focus, signal the subconscious, and build pathways in the brain. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote, "Your word is your wand," and she meant it. Your speech carries voltage. So why not speak with intent? We've all felt the sting of careless words, from others or ourselves. And we've also felt the lift of a sincere, timely affirmation. You've got this. You are safe. This is working. These aren't cliches when spoken from presence. They are tuning forks. Try this. Choose one area: love, health, purpose. Write a short decree in the present tense, one that affirms not just what you want, but what you are becoming. Speak it aloud daily for 7 days. Feel the vibration as you say it. Watch your language begin to shape your lens. But a map is useless without fuel. Feeling is the current. Thought is the blueprint. Word is the direction. But feeling is the electricity that makes the whole system light up. Without feeling, everything else is hollow. A thought repeated without emotion is just noise. A decree spoken without resonance is just air. But when feeling enters the room, the lights come on. You've felt this before. You can say, "I'm grateful" 100 times, but unless something in you shifts, your chest softens, your breath deepens, it doesn't land. You might think about love or healing or success, but if your emotional body is frozen or numb, the signal doesn't carry. Feeling is the voltage that charges the circuit. It is the emotional congruence that tells the subconscious, "This is real." When your thoughts and words are accompanied by genuine feeling, your inner world starts broadcasting a coherent frequency, and life, like a tuning fork, begins to respond. Let's ground this in a story. A young woman navigating chronic health issues began exploring healing meditations. At first, she listened passively, hoping to feel something, but mostly feeling frustration. One day, instead of just listening, she imagined someone she loved deeply, her grandmother, placing her hand on her heart and saying, "You're healing." That simple image moved her. She cried. Not because it was dramatic, but because it felt true. From then on, every time she said, "My body knows how to heal," she felt it in her bones. Her breath changed, her shoulders relaxed. That feeling, that voltage, was the shift. It's like when you plug in a device. The outlet doesn't need to scream. It just needs to carry the current. And your body is the outlet. When you speak a truth and your body believes it, even slightly, you become charged, alive. That's where transformation begins. Neville Goddard, one of the clearest voices on creative consciousness, taught that feeling is the secret. Not just imagination, but felt imagination. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, he said. Not the fantasy, but the emotion that proves to your nervous system, this is possible. We've all been there, repeating affirmations that feel empty, trying to force a new story when the old one still echoes through our chest. This is not about forcing, it's about softening, about finding even a sliver of authentic emotion, a breath of relief, a whisper of joy, a flicker of hope, and letting that charge the words. Try this. Choose one intention. I am supported. Then pause. Close your eyes. Where in your life, even in a small way, is that already true? Let your body recall the moment. Let that feeling swell, even briefly. Now say the words again. I am supported. Feel the difference. This is why breathwork, music, imagery, and memory are such powerful allies in spiritual practice. They open the door to feeling, and once feeling is present, everything else accelerates. Charged and directed, the circuit still needs a switch. Action completes it. Words set direction. Feelings provide the charge. But action, that's the proof. That's the vote you cast every day for the version of reality you say you believe in. It's where metaphysics leaves the journal and steps into the world. Action doesn't have to be big. In fact, it often shouldn't be. Dramatic gestures burn out quickly. What creates real change is consistency. Small, honest, timely movements that align with your intention, like watering a plant daily instead of flooding it once a month. Think about it. You can affirm abundance all day, but if you avoid looking at your bank account, the message to your nervous system is still fear. You can visualize love, but if you ignore texts or shut down emotionally, the message is still resistance. Action calibrates your body to the frequency you're choosing. Let's get personal. A man working to improve his finances created a simple ritual. Each morning he'd write one money-related task on a post-it, something doable in under 15 minutes. One day it was reviewing a subscription. Another day it was sending a thank you message to a client. He didn't always feel confident, but he acted anyway. After a few weeks, something subtle shifted. He stopped flinching at financial conversations. He felt grounded, not because his bank balance exploded, but because he stopped abandoning the field. Action made it real. We've all been there, waiting to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. Confidence is a result, not a prerequisite. The act of doing, even when small, teaches your system. This is safe, this is true, this is now. In the area of love, this might look like writing one heartfelt message. In health, it could be a single nourishing meal or a 10-minute walk. In purpose, it might mean reaching out about a collaboration or finishing one paragraph of your book. Here's the micro story. A woman who'd struggled for years with inconsistency in her creative work decided to take action differently. Instead of setting massive goals, she gave herself one task a day, no matter how small, that aligned with her artist identity. Some days it was sharpening pencils. Other days, a sketch or one sentence. Within 3 months, not only had she produced more work than ever, but she also began to feel like an artist, not because of praise or output, but because her behavior mirrored her belief. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Habit is identity in motion. You don't become a new version of yourself in theory. You become it through repeated embodied signals. Action is how you tell the universe, I'm not just thinking or hoping, I'm living it. And remember, aligned action isn't frantic. It's not hustle. It's a yes that arises from inner clarity. It might feel quiet, even boring, but it's trustworthy. It builds. So ask yourself, what's one small step today that your future self would thank you for? Then do it. That's the formula in motion. And when sprouts are slow or storms arrive, what then? You've followed the steps. Thought, feeling, word, action, aligned, repeated, trusted. And still, something isn't shifting. The bank account still looks the same. The relationship is still rocky. The health issue still lingers. Doubt creeps in. Maybe this just doesn't work for me. But here's the truth. The formula is infallible. It's life that unfolds in layers, in time, in timing. And sometimes the field simply needs to stabilize before it bears fruit. Imagine planting a seed and digging it up every day to check for roots. That's what impatience does. It collapses the field, it breaks the trust. What's needed instead is presence, a kind of faithful neutrality. Not passivity, but a steady willingness to remain available. We've all been there, waiting, hoping, doubting, wanting proof before we commit. But this journey asks something deeper. Can you stay open-hearted in the unknown? Can you keep showing up, not because you're certain of the outcome, but because you're loyal to the alignment itself? Think of clouds moving across the sun. They don't cancel the sun. They only obscure it temporarily. In those moments of shadow, when the results are invisible, your task isn't to abandon the practice. It's to return to it with softness, with curiosity, with grace. There's a story of a gardener who spent years tending a stubborn patch of land. Every day she watered, cleared, waited. Others laughed. Still nothing? They'd ask. But she trusted the process. One spring, shoots appeared. So many, so fast, they covered the ground within days. What no one saw were the roots growing deep beneath the surface all along. Viktor Frankl, who endured unimaginable hardship, taught us that between stimulus and response there is a space, and in that space lies our power. The formula creates that space. When life doesn't comply immediately, don't collapse. Widen, breathe, adjust, repeat. Let's anchor this with a reflective practice. Choose one area in your life that feels slow to shift. Now speak to it as if it were a seed. I see you. I trust your timing. I will water you gently. Feel the shift in energy. That's alignment, even in waiting. Here's your reflective question. In those moments of doubt, what would it feel like to trust the process more than the outcome? Pause. Feel it. Share it in the comments. Your voice matters. The formula isn't magic. It's a relationship with life, with self, with grace. The formula is not a trick. It's a way of being, a way of remembering that you are not separate from life. You are in constant conversation with it. Every thought you choose, every emotion you allow, every word you speak, every step you take, they are all signals, not to impress the universe, but to align with it. You're not manipulating reality. You're attuning to it. And yes, there will be days of doubt, moments where the outside doesn't match the inside. But even then, you are building something sacred. Invisible roots, subtle shifts. You're becoming fluent in the language of energy. So, begin again. With a breath, with a phrase, with a small step. The path is not linear, it spirals. Each repetition deepens the imprint. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are remembering how to listen, how to choose again, how to participate fully in the life you are quietly co-creating with every breath. So take a moment now. Inhale deeply. Feel the simplicity of this truth. Alignment is available, always. Not as a task, but as a tuning. Not as pressure, but as possibility. Now, I ask you this, gently, sincerely. Which area of your life are you ready to align? Not just in thought, but in feeling, in word, and in action. Let me know in the comments. Your clarity may light the path for someone else.